right, guys, welcome to Payne Fields in Everett, Washington. My name is Father Time, retired American Airlines 777 captain, and we are in the PMDG 777. We're going to do some pattern work using a program that I love called FSiPanel for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 by a developer named JP. He's a Middle East airline captain, sim instructor, check airman. This scenery pack, though, is from Freaky D. You can get over on Flight Sim TO. Freaky's a Boeing engineer, so this is the facility he works in. His office actually is right in there. But that's where they make the wings for the 777 over there. I better watch my airplane. Look at this beautiful machine here. I did a lot of work with TFDi MD-11. I'm excited about that one too, and PMDG, of course, because it was the airplane I just retired on back in September. I'm pretty excited about that. Go back inside, and we'll talk about FSiPanel a little bit. As flight attendants tell me they're ready for takeoff. What you do, guys, is you go to the end of the runway. You can actually start off there and activate FSiPanel and do multiple patterns. So we're going to do some RNAV approaches here. Maybe we'll do an ILS, maybe a go around, just to show you. When you get in a simulator, it's really, really important that you are as efficient as possible. If you're not, you know what, I'm going to turn on the light. You guys know there's a master switch here, right? Turn that all the way up. And any switches that are on the white dot right here will go up to whatever you set. I'm going to bring that all the way up. Here we go. That's a little better. Yeah, when you're in a simulator, there's a big difference when check airmen that running the simulator are good at running the sim or bad at running the sim. If they're bad at running the sim, it breaks your concentration, breaks your flow, it gets rid of your immersion. If they're really good at setting it up, you can get an extra couple of approaches in each if they're really good at putting you around. This program, FSiPanel, was sort of developed by JP for that reason. Having been an instructor in the simulator, he knows what he's talking about. Very responsive. I'd highly recommend picking up this package. I think the advanced edition with the scenario packs and malfunctions and everything is around $50. Best money I ever spent. I use it all the time on my content creation. It's going to get up to 16 right. For whatever reason, they put me on 34 left. I thought I'd taxi around, though, and use the time to look over Freaky D's facility while we taxi out. Here we are on circ 16 right, and from here we'll have our discussion. I'm going to park the brakes and take a look around. Yeah, that's where they make the wing of the 777 in that big giant building out there. These over on the right or in the center now are the paint shops. There's all the different Boeing aircraft are here. 787s, of course 777s, 787-300. Looks like a United 767 right there. Just tell by the tail cones. There's a Boeing KC-45s, and you got a 747-800 over there. And all over there is you got a B-52, and I think they even threw a 330 in way on the distance over here. Airbus threw them a bone. And some F-22 Lockheed Martin, the Raptors over there. B-52 Boeing Stratus. But you can take a look around here. Like I said, it's free. You can beam yourself in, put yourself at one of these gates to be facing out, taxi out. What I love about Mike's Freaky D's scenario packs is they're high quality, but they're free. But more importantly, that you don't get that frame per second. For all this, you don't get the FPS drop-off that you get with some of the more complex scenery packs. But we're not here to talk about my friend Mike. And just go over to flightsim.to, pick this up. It's got a bunch of great 140 different free scenery packs over there. It's pretty famous over there. We're here to use FSiPanel to do a little bit of pattern work. And primarily start off by working on our RNAV approaches. Split side. I'm going to open up FSiPanel. There it is. I'm going to go to setup, and we're going to talk. Coming across the top, if you haven't seen these before, I primarily use it for the scenery managers. And what I do with the scenery managers, you come in here, you pick your aircraft with generic, because they don't have the 777 there. You pick your profile, let's say Air Corsica 351 That's from Marseille to Calvi Island. Circling approach, level of difficulty is a 4. You download the scenario, that gives you the weather pack and your presets on your, when you open up your, instead of going live weather, you got to go to the preset. He explains that a lot and stuff. There's YouTube tutorials on some of them. This one might even be mine. Oh yeah, there's that guy, that Father Time guy. And you got a sim brief. You click on sim brief flight plan, and it'll file your flight plan for you. But what you want to do first of all, and before you do any of these things, is open up your lesson plan for the one that you want to do. Go through, and I write up entire briefings for the frequencies, because when you file, you got to put yourself in certain weathers. You got the preset weathers. You've got to at a certain gate, because remember, all the taxi things are taxi instructions and clearances and everything are based on the having the correct things in there. So you got to take the time to review the lesson plan, make some notes, and it's fantastic. They have diversions, runway changes. You can choose your approach, choose your runway, choose whether to divert or come back around, all sorts of things. It's getting more and more sophisticated. He's doing a terrific job. Tremendous Discord channel. Enough about that FSiPanel. That's not why we're here today. Although I can tell you that push to talk like VATSIM, you got to set that up on your yoke. You got to set up your say again button. Voice to be most realistic. Voice and text. So if you misunderstood something or you forgot what they said, you can click your say again button. It'll say it again. So you get your push to talk, and next thing you know, to build a co-pilot, you can auto-tune your next frequency on standby. It takes a few seconds to give you a frequency change. Lo and behold, it comes in, you switch them over. The other thing you can do on the options is build a cockpit flow. So if you were to click on your cockpit flow key button like this, say no, I don't want it on my keyboard, and you say okay, I want it on my hostage stick, and I want it on this key, whatever one lights up, you click it. That's good. And then when you're on Microsoft Flight Simulator and you click it, your flows will come up for whatever phase of flight you're in, and you click on that flow, and the co-pilot will run all the checklists for you. These are your position options. We're going to do vectors for this first one for the RNAV. I'll say my vector on the leg. Let's put it at 7 miles, and I want a final distance of 12 miles. That's fine. You can change that if you wanted. That's great. Database statute mile in pounds. That's how you set it up. Here's the ones that have full coverage right now. When I have full coverage, I mean all these failures, they don't have them in there right now. You can do any failure you want. The Mad Dog, PMDG fleet, including the 777, fly-by-wire, any builds, headwind, Phoenix, they have everything. They can do all the malfunctions on it. All the rest of us, we have to wait, but these are the ones that are sort of in beta phase. You can recognize the A300, F600, A310, and my boy here, the TFDi MD-11, flew that, and I was on the quality assurance team, and I am on the quality assurance team for the MD-11. Anyway, that's for another video. JP has a ton of videos on that. He even sent me a couple private ones that, with his permission, I might just release to you. That's it. The failures, you would have all sorts of failures you can do on this one. And you can take snapshots, like on short final. Sim instructors do that, and then land, load the snapshot, put you right back out. One's to go around, one's to landing. A good sim instructor not only keeps you immersed, not only gives you more opportunities, but they can save you by giving you that extra shot at the end because they ran the sim so efficiently. That's my opinion. But we're at 16 right, PAE, right? I just want to do the position. And 16 right, you could change the runway if you wanted. 16 right, PAE. You could select your fix where you want to go. 10,000 feet left-hand traffic pattern, which maybe we'll have time to talk about. You can look at scenarios from here, but we're not going to do that. Right now we're going to do the quick sets, which are right here. We're going to go a vector, left-hand vector. It's going to put us on, see this one that says vectors? That's what you want. If you say final, that's flaps 30, gear down. Clean, now we'll go, this vectors is always in the 777, flaps 5. That's your final landing flap, runway 16 right, KPAE, and I'm going to come up here and move the aircraft. Not happy with that altitude. I'm not happy with that altitude because we want to be down around 3,000. So KPAE approach, we're going to do the RNAV GPS Zulu. You can see that we're going to go down to 913 feet, and we want to be at 3,000 over, it's actually at or about over WeBe. So I'm going to get us down to 3 when we get there. Move the aircraft. Now, it says, I have not even loaded anything in the box, guys, so I should have gone menu, actions, fuel. I'm going to put in, you don't want to be heavyweight, I put in 40,000 pounds. And you come back to menu. Really shouldn't be doing this while it's loading up. FS actions, payload. I'm going to put in 50%. And you can see that everything else is being loaded over here. You see the gross weight, fuel, reserves. You want to make sure you're down below your max landing weight. I'm not doing any of this naturally. This looks like it's loaded the ILS to 1.6 right, so we're going to have to put in a different approach. I want to do the RNAV. And gears, handle's going up and down because it's trying to keep the gear up, flaps 5, and I have my gear handle down in the sim. Preparing your aircraft standby. Only thing I'm going to do differently when it comes off, I'm going to get down to 3. Parking brake has to be off. If the thing's not going, you probably have your parking brake on. You can see around a left bit downwind. Don't worry about the fuel tank. The center tanks are empty. I think what they want us to do is turn off our center tank pumps. That's really what you do on the situation like that. Everything else, see the landing lights are on. APU, the seatbelt sign's on. Hold your brake for 3 seconds. Before I do that, I'm going to go to the box. JP says, you should probably do that. I'm going to go in knit, get into menu, FMC. He says you should do that when you're released, but I'm going to do it now. There it is, at or above 3. Execute it, but that's the wrong approach. So I'm going to go nav, RNAV Zulu 16 right. And put that in. Go to legs. WeBe. It's good, so that's good. It's got our gear. It's got our gear up. Flaps 5, brakes 2, and WeBe at or above 3. I don't like being this high. I'm just going to go ahead over here and put in 3. And before we come off freeze, I'm going to go flight level change. Bring the throttles back. I think it'll go down there. When we come off, autopilot is engaged. Hold your brakes for 3 seconds to take control. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go nav. I'm going to go flight level change down to 3. There we go. We're down to 3. I'll get it set up. Now, there's a procedure. LNAV, VNAV, we'll get that going in a minute. For cleared for the approach. So once we're cleared for the approach, we at American Airlines, we said 2 buttons, 2 windows. The 2 buttons are VNAV and LNAV. The 2 windows are speed intervene and bottom altitude. So bottom altitude here is 913. We'll get it going down to flight level change down to 3. Just moving my throttles a little bit. We're in nav, we're in LNAV. So this is some of the gutches there. It's thinking about it. It's going down to 3. Once it gets down there, I'll get it started from 3 and come in from below. You can see that right here. It's top of descent's in about 3 miles. So I'm just going to be down to 3,000 by then and get it set up. You're still going to be a pilot, right? You're still going to configure. You got to do all your stuff. It's relying on you to do your pilot stuff. We can give it a little more flaps. That'll help it get down a little bit because our speed to go to flaps 15 is below 230. All right, we're capturing. And there's our alt capture. All right, that's pretty close. It's just having trouble collecting. So I'm going to go VNAV, 2 buttons, VNAV, LNAV, speed intervene. Bring the speed back to around 190. And then we're clear for the approach. So I think what I'll do, we are path. I will put in the bottom altitude. 1,000 feet is close enough. And there we are, we're flying. The only other thing is on these approaches, kind of a minor point, but we always put in 125 on page 4, 125, and then we put in whatever the RNP is. It assumed 125. It assumed 0.3, but let's say it was 0.11 for tighter. There's some restrictions on 0.11, which we'll cover another day. And there we are, 140 is going to be our speed. All right, so there's our vertical track indicator. ETI starting to come down. Let's go gear down. Flaps 20. Start bringing our speed back below 180. That's how we get to flaps 35. Once we're inside of the FAF, we can put our missed approach altitude in. And our FAF is Jugba. So when you're 300 feet below your missed approach altitude, you can put in your missed approach altitude up here. And it's going to keep going on down. So at the FAF, 300 feet below your missed, you can put that in. Then bring the speed all the way back. Speed below 180, flaps 35. Flaps 30 rather, flying the MD-11 for landing checklist. So around the VTI, you can see the RNP 125 there. We got VNAV path, we got our missed approach altitude is set. We've got a runway heading should be set. There. Beautiful. VNAV path just watching, coming on down. We'll bring this all the way back to our ref speed +5, right about in there. That's it. Looks good. That's pretty cool. So what we'll do here is we'll come in, we'll land, and really you should go to the end of the runway, but we'll just try doing another approach.
1,000.
And we'll repeat the VNAV from the other side, the RNAV, to give you guys another look at that, how to do the RNAVs. ILS is so simple. And that's it. So, let me get this set up. Some of this pilot stuff. Autopilot's off, we're at minimums. A little bit something about the RNAV approaches. You got to watch the glide path. Some of these RNAV approaches in real life, they're not real accurate on the glide path portion as you transition to land. So the sooner you pick up the PAPIs, it's a little bit nose up trim here. As soon as you pick up the PAPIs, you can start flying them on down. There it is, red over white. Looks like the glide path is, VTI is pretty accurate. See if I can get a nice landing. They're going to grade our landing with FSiPanel. The touchdown center line and touchdown zone.
100.
Break the sync at 40.
50. 30. 20. 10.
I have a little bit left of center line in the zone though. I think he'll say good touchdown. Unsafe on the center line control. Good on the touchdown zone. 80 knots, start coming out of reverse, pop it out of reverse. and we'll probably get hot brakes, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to stop it here. Park the brakes. It says brake temps. See if we can get an FSiPanel landing summary. Just kind of cool. Landing report. Unsafe landing because distance center. Did I call that or what? Touchdown -26 says a positive landing. Perfect bank at touchdown, just within limits on the landing distance. So, yeah, you know, done better. All right, so now let's go out to left-hand vectors. I wish there was a way to change this. Let me go one thing, position, setup, options, distance legs, everything's good. Downwind, 3,000. Okay, it's going to put you on a 3-degree glide path from wherever you put yourself. So we're going to back to position and move the aircraft to left-hand vectors for 16 right. And we'll try another RNAV. Just to go back over those procedures. It says preparing your aircraft, stand by. We'll do it over again. Just thinking about it. I got to release the parking brake, it says. And just let it do its thing. It's not supposed to touch anything. Got to put the gear up though because it's trying to give me flaps 5 gear up. Because I'm on vectors to final. You can take a look around, just don't click any buttons until it's ready. You can see that FSiPanel is loading the performance, it's loading the approach. Everything, I'm going to have to get it all set up again. Route 1 legs. Preparing the aircraft standby. This is preparing the approach. I don't know which one they've picked for us. Yeah, it looks like they've gone with the ILS. Right, see, I'm not sure what they've gone with here. Let's see. Still preparing the aircraft, so I shouldn't be touching anything. Just thinking about it. Guys, if it's not doing anything, a lot of times you forget to take off the parking brake. Aircraft's ready, hold your brake. Now, he doesn't like me to do this. JP's not going to be happy with me, but I'm going to go departures arrival. I'm going to go, not the ILS, we're going to do the Zulu again, because I think that's important. ILS is just too simple. We'll go direct to WebV, that's in front of us, right? WebV, execute it. Come up here. These are the things he doesn't really want you doing here because it messes it up. I'm also going to put in 3,000 to start off, like this, and it'll change it. Hold the brakes for 3 seconds, and here we go. Aircraft's ready. Where autopilot is on, we're going to go level change down to 3,000. It's descending on down. We'll go LNAV, so we navigate to WebV, and we'll get VNAV when we get down to 3,000 set up. And that's kind of how it's done. So we get flaps 5. We could probably arm the spoilers. Spoilers are armed, speed brakes armed, brakes are armed. Isn't it cool? I just think it's really cool. Slowly getting down to 3. It's going down and slowing down, which is not its favorite thing to do. We're in nav, so I can actually bring this around the runway heading. Spin it. One guy told me, stop clicking it, just roll it with your mouse wheel. So the runway heading's kind of set. We'll get the misapproach altitude set when we're inside the FAF. Letting it go down to 3. And once it gets leveled down there at 3, I'll get us the 2 buttons and 2 windows. Remember? So we've got a DA of 940. We can set our box. Prague 125. Prague. Page 4. So 125's in there and 0.11, that stayed in there. So that's good. And our speed's going to be 140. Should be able to remember that. Here we go, intercepting final. When it goes into alt, capture, there it is, alt. At that point, I'm going to go 2 buttons, 2 windows. So LNAV, VNAV, that's 2 buttons. Then speed intervene. Bring this back down to where you want it.
Positive rate of climb.
Pay no attention to that. 2 buttons, 2 windows. And we'll say we're clear for the approach. I'll bring this down to minimums. Right down around 1,000. And when we're inside the FAF, I can set by 300 feet below missed approach altitude, which is 3,000. I can set missed approach altitude. So 2,700 on final inside the FAF, which is Jambe here. Jugba. All right, that's how it's done. We can go ahead and get the gear down. And we'll get our flaps 20. Speed below 225, flaps 20. Remember, it's going to be 140 when we get there. 160 is good enough for now. And Jugba is the FAF, so 300 feet below missed approach altitude, which is 3,000, so 2,700, we'll be able to bring it over. I should get the auto brakes on. All right, we'll go to flaps 25, speeds below 200, flaps 25. And we're below 180, you can go full flaps, 4 landing checklists. Brake temps high. So yeah, I'm just going to checklist override. Checklist override. Normals. Final flaps are 30, 4 landing checklist is complete. Checklist override. Normal checklist. And there you have it. Flight attendants telling us they're ready. And we are in path. We're descending. When we get inside the FAF, which is we are, and 300 feet below missed approach altitude, which we are, we can set missed approach altitude. The reason you're doing that, guys, so it doesn't start climbing back up on you. You want to be 300 feet below missed approach altitude and inside the FAF. And then it will also not go missed approach. If you forget to do that, when you get down around minimums, it's going to bring the power up and level off. And we're required in IMC conditions to go missed. All right, let's get our speed back to 140. Mouse. All right, gears down, flaps down, speed brakes on, spoilers are armed. And there we go. Pretty cool. Let's see if we can get a better landing. So we barely were in the touchdown zone, right? We were left the center line. He didn't like that. He said it was unsafe. Very positive landing, so we could do better than that. So, all right, let's try to do better. Autopilot's off. 777, you can leave the auto throttles on through landing. Just realize that they're probably going to come back on you at around 50 feet. So you got to kind of, they're declutched. You can override them. PMDG is a nice flying airplane. Did a nice job with it. Checklist incomplete. Okay, we're all set. Power's coming in a little bit. Nose up. About 5 degrees to bring us down. Then it's about 2.5 on final with flaps 50. Well, 3 degrees with flaps 35. All right, let's get this one on center line in the zone. Got a little bit high. Run red, 3 whites. Come on, Captain Marvel. Don't get low. 2.5. We'll hold it. I'm going outside. I'm not going to run long this time.
50, 30, 20, 10.
A little bit left to center line again. I think he's going to hammer me again, man. Drop that nose, baby. Is 60. We're coming out. Out of reverse. Parking brakes are parked. Let's go get our landing. What am I going to guess? A little bit left to center line in the zone. It's touchdown's okay. He'll like that one. Unsafe landing. Deviate from center line 20. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, brother. Okay, but I guess I was. Darn it. Darn it. Okay, so now what now? Let's do a go round, and we'll just go out on long final this time. Move the aircraft, and we'll do a ILS to a go round. Release the parking brakes. And we are flaps 30 gear down. Speed brake lever is armed. Auto brakes are on. ILS should be tuned. Yeah, he's got me set to go, baby. Nice. Departure arrival. Let's set up the box. Preparing your aircraft standby. Don't touch anything, Captain Marvel. Let's get our approach up and take a look at it. Approach, ILS 16 right. 1093, 163. ILS 16 right. 193, 163. Good. Parking brakes are off when the time comes. He's still preparing the approach. Hold your brakes for 3 seconds to take control. We got the autopilot on. Let's turn this off. Auto brakes are off. And we'll arm the approach. Let's intercept the ILS and fly it on down. And do a go-around. So the go-around procedures on the 777 are going around flaps 20. Going around toga, flaps 20. Going around toga, flaps 20. Of course, you know, toga switches are up here. I have a button assigned to mine, but the button up here is right there, right? Going around toga, flaps 20. Positive brake gear up, set misapproach altitude, which is 3. Which we'll do as soon as we capture the glide slope. Right now we got low capture, but not glide slope capture. It's at 2,800 feet, which is good. And then at, so going around toga, flaps 20. Positive brake gear up, set misapproach altitude, which will be set 3. Then we clean it up. We go nav at 400 feet or heading select. There it is, glide slope. So we can set misapproach altitude. Misapproach altitude set, misapproach heading set. And then at the top of the white bar, I'm not sure if PMDG simulates, it's a white bar 1,000 feet. We start cleaning it up and go level change or VNAV. So that's what we'll try. Do a little go around action and probably call it a day, as the video is already at 35 minutes. I thought I'd show you a go around. Tire pressure differential, brake temperature differential. Yeah, Captain overheat. And checklist is landing gear and flaps is good. Checklist override. We're all set. Normals. That's descent. Checklist override. Normals. Yeah, it gets kind of altimeters are set. Checklist override. Looks good. Should be okay now. And there we go. Got low capture, glide slope capture. say we let it do an auto land. I haven't done one in this thing yet, but we probably should demonstrate a go round. If it was an auto land, the
1,000.
FO would stay inside and it's stable. We look for sync with glide slope within a third of a dot, half a dot, course within a third of a dot. And there's land 3 below 1,500 feet. You need that. Means all 3 autopilots are good to go. So you cleared the auto land. So the FO stays inside the whole way. If he sees anything that doesn't like, he just says go around. They don't say I don't like this. Just be, you don't want to say a hope and a prayer. Just say go around. The captain will go around. You can do a go around with the autopilot on or autopilot off.
Terrain.
There we go. It's hunting. It's working it, isn't it?
Terrain.
All right, going around. Let's just go around here. Autopilot's off. Didn't want to do. I had my. All right, going around. Toga flaps 20. Positive rate gear up. Set my approach altitude. Guys, it did not want to do a go round for me. That's okay. And then above 400 feet, you can go LNAV on the mist.
Too low. Gear. Too low. Gear.
I wonder if it's not modeled properly. That's got to be me. Probably something I'm doing. It doesn't want to stay in go round power for me. Auto throttles are off. Yeah, who knows? Probably something I did wrong. Not the best demonstration ever. And then above 1,000 feet, you can start cleaning it up. Gear up, flaps 1. You go flaps up, trends coming there, flaps up. And there's your altitude. Altitude hold, heading hold, and there's your speed. Terrible demonstration, absolutely terrible. Hey, I don't know why the Toga didn't work, guys, but it didn't, so no idea what's going on with that. All right, there's a heading, altitude 3,000, and let's get out of here. A lot of times out. Sorry about that. That wasn't the best demonstration go around. My Toga did not want to go. But we did end up where we're supposed to be, leveling at 3,000, and we're in heading select now, and 230 knots on the speed. I just had everything off, so I just flew it manually. The airplane's not doing what you want it to do, you make it, right? All right, here we go. Yeah, a lot of times out, yeah.